So James Clear once said, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Systems are truly important for your own sake, health, sustainability, engagement, team growth, team success, everything is necessary and for you to not burn out and to help you reach your goals. Now, I get it. Sometimes we are not in always a position to think about systems. We often are running and gunning in our leadership. We're ripping and running, right? As the old folks say, as the old heads say, ripping and running, where there are fires that need to be put out or actions that need to be converted. There are deadlines that need to be met. And we don't really take the time to stop and process and think about what are the systems that need to be created and done to achieve that level of success. So I don't feel like I'm out here just taking me where the wind blows, right? And how you design your systems can not only impact the way that you lead and show up, but it also can help out the team as well, that they feel confident and comfortable in what success could look like. A system gives structure to what success looks like every single time. Every single time. You are designing what the inputs need to be to help people see that if they do A, B, and C is going to equal to 1, 2, and 3. That A, B, and C could be how they show up, how they document, and how they look at what the metrics and goals look like. And then that can play a role in achieving the type of output, the type of response, or the type of goals that you want to see every time. One element that I see this quite a bit, or I've seen this quite a bit, is in the sports, right? Sporting world. As an athlete, I've noticed often that the way that I practice sometimes can play a major role in how I play. The way that I prepare plays a major role in how I show up come game day. If I don't watch the film, if I don't do the lifting, if I don't practice, show up to practice, then it's going to translate in how I either get playing time or don't come game day. Or if I do play, being able to know what exactly the goals are supposed to be, or how I need to run my routes, or what type of tendencies that the defense gives in certain situations, whether it's third down or fourth and long or press situations, 2-minute, things of that nature. If I don't prepare myself effectively with the inputs and in that rolling system, it's not going to translate to the output that we want to seek. In the workplace, standard operating procedures is a major way to understand what type of system that you want to have. You got to be able to navigate and define and discuss what steps that people need to take to achieve the particular outcome. Standard operating procedures allow people the understanding of what success looks like, and you as a leader can take the time to define that and actually step back and do those things. But what I have learned to do in my own space is carve out certain days and certain times to allow myself the ability to understand the systems, allow my ability to build the system so I can operate in it and work on the business, not in the business. And the sad thing about it is nobody's going to give us the time to be able to do that. We have to create the time to do that. We have to create the space for our ability to document what those systems are going to look like and actually working in and test it to see if it's going to work for us and produce the success that we want to see. So many times I sat here and now in the content creation space, I'm like, man, I ain't got time to create content. I ain't got time to do this work. I ain't got time to record, to post, to schedule these things because I'm sitting here trying to do all the things at one time. But I've learned by watching other creators is that they batch their days or batch their time to do that level of work. But that doesn't happen if they didn't think about what kind of system they need to develop in order for them to see success. So you as a person, you as a leader need to define what that success could look like for you and define what that system is going to be to help you achieve that success so that you can rise so you can, as you fall to the level of your systems, it matches closer to the success that you want to create. So in the workplace, when you are thinking about how can you get your team effectively navigating and achieving success in the system that you create, number one, you got to be able to analyze the top performers and the work that they do. I truly appreciate the folks who are doing the work well and consistently with discipline. That is something that needs to be studied. We can take the time, step back, and be like, okay, you've done that so well, or people are communicating that they love the way that you approach this. How do you think about that? How do you go about that? What do you think about? What do you do? And like literally scribe that down, like write that down, because that could be the standard in which that you ask every team member to adopt and abide by within their own style to achieve success. Now, that's not to say that you're trying to create uniform individuals on your team. You're not asking everybody to be just like homeboy over here, right? But you can understand the principles of what that particular team member is doing and see if that could be adopted across the board, or ask the question across the other team members saying, hey, if we want to make sure that we close out our tickets within 80 days of completion or with 80 days of acceptance, this person is doing it one way, but how are you achieving that goal? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Maybe there's some lessons learned we can learn along the way. But analyzing the top performers and analyzing what success is going to look like allows you the ability to document what you would like to see done on the team, to then ask the team members to say, what does it look like to adopt this across the board? Number two, which leads quite nicely, is setting the expectations inclusively. So now that you've kind of documented what success looks like and you looked at your top performers and you looked at what success needs to be, this then extends that conversation to look around and say, okay, if we were to adopt this, what works for you, what doesn't? What is a non-negotiable? What is a preference? What is this a recommendation, right? Those questions can allow people to feel like they can step into it and be like, well, I don't like doing it that way. I can see the benefit and I could change my way. Or saying, hey, or as you are defining, if these are the top three things that we have to do, whatever it takes for you to get there, get there. You do what you need to do. But by the end of the day, we need to make sure 80% of these are getting done by the time we get within 7 days of completion, right? Or with 7 days of acceptance. Like that is non-negotiable, but how you get there can be what works for you, or here's some best practices that you can adopt to help you get to that point, right? Number 3, you got to have metrics to monitor what success looks like. And those metrics is a partnership between you and the team. In some places and spaces, there are some regulatory requirements in how you define what success looks like, right? Like you have to have 100% in compliance in this particular way. Or as a culture, your team might say, we want to make sure that we have an 85% rate on our net promoter score, or 4.5 in Google reviews, what have you, right? There are particular metrics that you want to state. But as a team, those are sometimes our external goals and metrics. But internally, you can set some input metrics or process metrics that can help the team understand what success could look like too. So if I want to see 85% there, you define what the tasks and outcome, you define what the task needs to be. And then you can say, okay, if I do these tasks every time, I'm going to reach that goal. I'm going to reach that goal, right? But as a group, you can help define and shape what those metrics look like. I have learned that sometimes you giving them the goal or you telling them what the metric looks like sometimes works, but also doesn't. Like some people want to feel a lot of team members that I've experienced want to be invited into the discussion. They want to be able to share and say, you know what, I like that, or actually can we change it this way because here's some factors that play a role in us achieving that success, right? And then again, back to the non-negotiables, there might be some goals. It's like, hey, no matter what, we have to hit this month metric. Let's do what we need to do in order to get there, right? And then the fourth thing is encourage, coach, support when appropriate. There is a difference between fixing somebody and coaching somebody, right? Not everybody wants to be fixed. Not everybody wants to have that problem solver come in and tell them exactly what to do. Sometimes they just need somebody to walk alongside them and to give them some guidance and get the guardrails to ensure that they're moving in the direction that you are asking them to move towards. Be a coach, be somebody who can understand, have that emotional intelligence to define, okay, where do you need me right now? Do you need me to tell you? Do you need me to ask you? Do you need a place to vent? Do you just want some encouragement? How do you want this to go for us to reach that top goal? That has to be part of the work, and understanding what your team needs in order to be successful. And you can build that into your system of having a regular check-in that allows you the conversation, or allows you the space to process and think and encourage your team members on a regular basis, or you as a leader stepping into it and saying, you know what, I got to make sure that I check in with this team member, or I communicate at the all staff, or I talk to, I send out an email articulating the vision, the why, and how we are working towards that, and who's doing well, and what success continues to look like, and being that showed up in that space. So analyze your top performers, set those expectations, create the metrics, and encourage along the way are key elements to help define what that system will look like for success for you. And you got to carve out the time in order for that to happen. Call to action. Define what success looks like for you and for your team. Simple as that. You got to define what success looks like and the system to help you achieve that success. Take a moment, take a step back, carve out an hour to a week to then say, make sure that you're tweaking the necessary things so the system can run as a well-oiled machine and the people know effectively what their goals are going to be and what they need to do in order to achieve that. If you like this episode, if you want more of these types of quick tidbits on what leadership can look like for you, be sure to tap into the leadership newsletter where we give these strategic, bite-sized, tangible, actionable ways to help you support you in your leadership, especially if you're a middle manager leading from the inside out, giving you those for the middle out, giving you those perspectives that way. Be sure to tap in there. Also subscribe to the Leaders Lens Show, where you get more of this from a verbal basis. Tube, Cast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, all them things. You'll find me there. The Leaders_Lens on Instagram at Ray Devontae on all social media platforms. You'll find me. Holla at your boy. We are out here.